afternoon and welcome to this edition of the program 360 Degrees, the very last edition for the year 2024. And today we are talking the socio-economic situation of the country as the year is getting to an end, as we try as much as possible to make projections and recommendations to boost the socio-economic situation of Cameroon in 2025, where we are looking at issues like high poverty rate. We are looking at the armed conflicts affecting the different regions of the country, gender equality, and then we are looking at the poverty rate, which it is said that 4 out of 10 Cameroonians are still living below the poverty line, and a high cost of living, of course, with skyrocketed prices of basic commodities in the Cameroonian markets. Stay with us. You're welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is 360 Degrees on Canada International. We are always with you every Saturday from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m., where we discuss issues plaguing the nation Cameroon and even beyond the territorial boundaries. And today we have 4 gentlemen in the studio that will be helping us to understand the theme we have chosen today to discuss, which is the socio-economic situation of the country. We are just few days to end the year 2024, and we'll go straight to welcome our guests of today. I will begin from my right, where I have GODFRED. GODFRED is not a new face here. He has been here several times. He's a politician and he militates with the ruling party, the CPDM. You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Hyncenth, for renewing me this confidence by inviting me here. And I'm happy that to be present at your platform to discuss things at this end of year that will go along for the construction of our beauty nation.
How was the Christmas feast?
I think if up to now we have not had any incident and all the rest, we can say everything was fine. And all Cameroonians, they are doing their best to see that the feast, the end of year will end well as the Christmas feast was also.
Thank you so much. And by him we have EGOTAH ELIOT AYATONG. I hope I got the name well. He's the Executive Director of Peace Foundation for Development and Employment Services. This is your very first time on my set. You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hyncenth. It's indeed a great pleasure. It's indeed a great opportunity to be on stage with you today on the program 360. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much. And we move over to my left, where I have DEGRE George. I hope I got the DEGRE well. DEGRE George is a politician as well, militating with the Popular Action Party, commonly known as PAP. Sir, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Hyncenth. It's a pleasure also being here today for my first time. We'll send warm greetings to the televiewers of Canal 2 International and all the panelists here in the forum. A special greetings to the National President of the Popular Action Party, Mr. Njang Dennis Tabe, and if you permit,
of course,
a moment of silence for the departed soul of Chief Justice Aya Paul. May his soul rest in peace.
Thank you. Amen.
He has been a hope for many youth. He has been a man of justice. He fought a good fight. And we will continue with what he taught us to do best. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And the last person on the set, but not the least, my very good friend, Mr. John NIBA, who is a teacher and a civil society actor. Mr. John NIBA, finally you're here today. Thanks for honoring our invitation. We understand it is holidays and things are a little bit lighter.
Of course, as teachers, Mr. Hyncenth, I think we have that time. We can always pass by to build a nation by contributing our own quarter. I want to express my joy meeting Mr. Full of the CPDM party. We have always met elsewhere. I wish you Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Well, Also doffing my cap and also saying my condolences to the Ayapol family. Justice Ayapol was a man, I think if his example was followed by the majority of the CPDM parliamentarians in parliament, we wouldn't have been where in that situation that you are describing of high cost of living, just nothing working. I think at one moment he stood for the masses by saying that the mandate of the president should be limited. He stood for the masses. He was not serving one person.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for him, his colleagues served one person to the detriment of those who voted him into parliament, So I wish him a farewell journey back home, and we hope the family will bear the loss, and Cameroon in general.
The family will bear the loss. Maybe before we go to our talking point, let me just give Mr. Full and ELIOT maybe a minute. Justice Ayapol is gone. What legacy do we keep of him as Cameroonians?
Yes, I think we have to know in Cameroon that Ayapol was a renowned lawyer, a magistrate at the Supreme Court,
yes,
and he was a politician, and he was somebody who fought for the human rights, and I think he's somebody who is leaving behind a lot of things that Cameroonians will certainly continue, because you know we are in a democratic country, and I think those are the people who have met the Cameroon democracy to be moving forward. We have to know that when we talk about PAP today, he is the main founder of this people's.
Not the founder. He joined it when the party was already existing.
Yes, he joined the.
Yes,
yes, but he was the former. Yes, he was the former president of the Popular Action Party,
yes.
And today those who are to continue, I believe that they have to continue in the same sense that he have been doing, because we know Cameroon, we need those ideas, we need those contradictions to grow. In a country like this one, sometimes one may not be at the level where you say he is the master of all. So we need those type of people to
what would you say
their own
maybe about the fact that for somebody who did so much, popular opinion holder, he died a frustrated man?
No, when we talk, you talk about dying a frustrated man.
Because January 2017, he was arrested, and since then he hasn't been himself.
No, you know, we cannot mix up things. You know, justice is justice, and when they talk about politics, politics is politics. And he was arrested, and if he had something to do with the judicial system, I think I don't belong to the judicial system.
Okay.
And he did not die in prison. He was outside, which simply means that if he was arrested for something, either the fact was justified or he had, and that's things that make us to be to talk about a democratic country, because nobody is above the law, no matter the fact that he was a magistrate. At least at a certain moment he has to answer to the same system he has been saving.
Okay, ELIOT.
Yes, thank you again, Mr. Hyncenth. I sincerely want to say Justice has been a very great personality in Cameroon today, at the forefront of the justice system in Cameroon, and at Dublin, at the level of human rights. He has been at the forefront, ensuring that we have a lot of things that we have in place today, thanks to his fights and thanks to his works. So he has left a great legacy behind that we are very proud of, and especially I'm very peculiar at the level of the human rights system, so where he has, at the human rights system where he has actually been at the forefront, fighting for a lot of lives to be much more better in Cameroon today, fighting for a lot of the economic hardship, more in terms of policies to ensure that we can have a much more better life in Cameroon today. So we're indeed so very happy that he has left a great legacy for us to continue from where he ended.
For sure, we'll continue from where we ended. I know if maybe John NIBA in less than 1 minute, please.
Yeah, I won't be long. I just want to say you asked to know whether people claim he died a frustrated man. I want to say yes, because the government of Cameroon frustrated him. The government of Cameroon arrested a judge at the bench of the Supreme Court. They even say he arrived the highest level where no Anglophone or English-speaking Cameroon has ever reached in terms of justice in Cameroon. And one morning, he was just kidnapped.
When you say kidnapped, what do you mean by
because not even being a lawyer, we know that at least some procedures are supposed to be followed. Your arrest warrant is supposed to be presented to you. They are supposed to tell you what you did. Your lawyers are supposed to be there. But he was thrown into a dark room for over 8 months, and he was released just like that. Mr. Furu was talking about the respect of justice, but we don't have any problem with that. We are not saying that somebody is above the law. But if he actually faced the justice and they judge him and condemn him for one thing or the other, we won't be complaining. You cannot just carry somebody like that who had defended the image of Cameroon and defended so many Cameroonians and defended even that justice system. They pick him, dump him in a dark room. He partially lost his sight. They release him and then block all his account. President Paul Biya sent him on anticipated retirement and blocked all his bonuses. Even the money he had worked and put in his account, he could not have access. When he was sick and went to the hospital, he had nothing to foot his bills. And then we sit here and say the same justice system that he defended faced him. No, that was not justice. That was just the type of example that they give to people that nobody in this country can ever, with this regime that we have, no matter the good intentions. Look at what happened to Ayapola Bine. It's really terrible.
Okay.
Those are the type of things that tarnish the image of this country.
Okay, thank you so much. After this transition, we'll dive into our talking points of today, why we dove our hearts to the family of Ayapola Bine.
Is viewed by many as a great loss for the nation, a man who leaves behind an unforgettable legacy, especially in the fight against injustice.
Someone who is a beacon, whom we hold in high esteem in the judicial family, judicial sphere, Barrister Ayapola.
You're welcome back. Let me begin with you, John NIBA. When you look at Cameroon, what picture do you paint of the socio-economic situation as we drive to 2025?
A sad picture of Cameroon. Even if you try to be as patriotic as whatever, if you have any iota of honesty and moral rectitude, you will have to say that there is a sad picture of Cameroon read on the faces of Cameroonians, those who still toil for this country. If we go by from one compartment to the other, you will actually notice that it is a sad picture. We can pick education.
Okay.
Do you know that even in this capital city where we are, most government schools don't even have a single computer, not even the head teachers.
Okay.
The head teachers in their offices still write their things with their hands, or they still carry their things to a cyber cafe by the roadside to type and pay bills, because there is no single computer, not to talk about a multimedia center to train people who will be emergent by 2035. The children still use a stone in class to illustrate how you hold a mouse. In Yaoundé. Now let us just step out of Yaoundé. You get a terrible story. Children still look at the picture of computers in the book and say, the teacher says, touch the keyboard, they touch the mouse. That is the type of thing we do in the city headquarters. And then now, still in education, the infrastructure is not there. We know of schools here where you meet children, more than 125 sitting in the class, in one classroom. Even if there are 2 teachers there, it cannot work in the capital city. So that is education, which is the main foundation of whatever thing. I don't want to enter into secondary education and higher education.
Okay.
Now, if we leave education, pick just the aspect of corruption in Cameroon, which is still very much present, which is making some of us to think that the real will to fight corruption is not there. Because by the day...
Are you saying that there's no progress?
No, to me, I don't see any progress, okay. Because we continue to think that corruption is being used by the regime as fuel for the public service to keep going. Because the day they stamp out corruption in the public service, people will not take the meager salaries they continue to take, and then they keep working. Because the government knows very well that the salaries people take now, I mean public servants, they take and they continue to work at the public service, is because by the end of the month, that person has received twice or thrice the salary through back door.
Okay.
And so, for motivation for people to keep going for work and even to survive, to work, that corruption must be there. But now, we have window dressing like Konak and other things that just make loud noise. But we still continue to feel it when we want to put our children to school, when we want to sit through competitive exams and things like that.
Okay. ELIOT, John NIBA is painting a very black picture of the situation of Cameroon now. Is that the same picture you have?
Mr. Hyncenth, I think I have a similar view with him, okay. In as much as I would not want to say that it's purely at that level, because I believe that there are a lot of initiatives that have been put in place to keep the situation. But nevertheless, like he said, that to be a rightful Cameroonian, that is a Cameroonian who is very rightful thinking upstairs and facing the hardship today, will not want to tell you that the country is at its best state. Okay. It's really a porous situation. I'm very candid with each and every one of us here. And looking at, I just want to add to what he said with respect to education and unemployment in Cameroon today. Yeah. It's a terrible situation. Sincerely, it's a terrible situation. The classical system of education which is in place is really not helping us, not at all. Okay. You could look at somebody who comes out from, for example, a graduate from the University of Yaoundé, tous, in law. He comes out with a bachelor's degree in law and he cannot do anything with it. I take another example, somebody who graduates from the University of Yaoundé, probably in chemistry. He comes out with that degree and he's not capable of doing anything with that degree. It's a terrible situation. And if you want to look at the population of Cameroon as at now, we are at about 29 million. That is an approximate figure. Yeah. 29 million. And out of that 29 million, it's going to shock you that just about 12 point something million is employed. Okay. In Cameroon. Both now both the private and the public sector. So you realize that we have a greater proportion of Cameroonians out there that are unemployed, and it's a terrible situation. Sincerely, the youths are facing it real hard out there.
Okay, Josh, the opposition is always maybe having a second eye, maybe seeing what the ruling party is not seeing. What is the view you have of the socio-economic situation of Cameroon as of date?
Well, thank you, Hyncenth. Concerning the socio-economic, the level of Cameroon 2024, I will first of all, like people always think that us of the opposition party, we don't see anything good. Okay. But I will first of all say that there has been a little increase in liquefied natural gas production and a little increase in the mining sector. Okay. But let us look at the other side of it. Still with the economy. There has been decline in oil production in Cameroon. Serious decline in oil production in Cameroon. The country at this particular moment is facing inflation. Prices of basic commodities are very, very high. Secondly, we have armed insurgency in Cameroon, in the northwest and southwest region, and in the far north region. Okay. It has hampered economic growth of our nation. We have the problem of high rate tax in Cameroon that are scaring investors to invest in our nation. Okay. We have lack of transparency and accountability in the process of investment in this country that has made it difficult for investors to invest in our country. We have the problem of corruption. Corruption is the order of the day. Even the agency created to enable investment in this country the process is opaque and prone to corruption. We have infrastructural challenges in our nation that is making investment very difficult. But for the past 42 years, we have a government in place. What have they been doing to better the situation of the common man? Now, we have 4 out of every 10 Cameroonians living beyond the national line of poverty in this country. For the past 42 years, the government in place, what have they been doing? Look at the level which some people tell me that privatization is a means to better the situation, because with privatization there will be efficiency, there will be investment, and there will be increased in products. I will tell you that if you want to look at the negative part of privatization, you will see that it's not a solution, because in 1990, when we privatized part of CDC, it led to several thousands of Cameroonians unemployed. It led to decline in the production of banana and tea products in Cameroon. It led to high prices of this basic commodity in Cameroon. We are facing all these challenges because we are adamant to change. That is the government in place.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Full. I saw you taking down notes. Maybe before you go to the notes you have been taking, they are trying to paint a picture. Maybe let's begin with some of the key achievements that will not make this year as blank or as dark as the way they are painting.
Yes, I want to think that they are in their role. You know, when they say you oppose, but certainly in some other countries, when you oppose, you don't make yourself to be a blind man. Because a blind man is the only person who may say
themselves to be blind people.
Yes, because at a certain moment when you even want to paint a picture of something that was not well done, at least you try to be argumentative. That you see the other way, but I keep them in their own rules. That's what they are playing. Because I want to start with the education, and we have to understand that what Mr. NIBA just said. I don't want to think that he has visited even one school in Cameroon, not thought of Yaoundé.
After this,
because
we go there. I don't want to call the names.
Maybe let me
I don't want to call the names of the school here. If you like, you go investigate.
Mr. NIBA, let me land.
I'm talking about government schools. Please, private schools are struggling, but you government, you're not doing nothing in your own schools.
Can you help me?
Don't come and index me when you yourself are not interviewing.
Mr. NIBA, please.
I'm talking about what I live every day. I'm a teacher.
After him, I'll give you time to talk.
So you should not tell me that I'm lying directly to all the Cameroonians to gain what? It's the CPDM that lies. I know that.
I will give you time to talk. Yes, Mr. Full, right on.
So I wanted to say, you know, the education system in Cameroon have been diversified.
Okay.
And you discover that all the government high schools have almost been transformed to technical schools. Today, when we talk about the professional training, you discover that even at the level of teaching, Cameroonians who are trained in Cameroon today are more used in Canada, in America, in United States of America. We can only talk about, we are talking about just about teaching field, even in the health system, because we use them. And we,
is that not a loss for Cameroon?
No,
that we train people and they go and be very useful elsewhere. We are here, we don't have the manpower.
I think Cameroon is not like they don't have those people, because if you go to a hospital, you will see all the health human resources are there. Just that you cannot block those who want to. We are in a global world today. There are people who may need they may need their services somewhere. So I wanted just to tell them that the people who are trained in Cameroon are used everywhere in this world, which means that the educational sector in Cameroon is working very well as far as they are painting their own dark
infrastructure-wise.
So when we talk about
the fact that we don't have schools with infrastructure problem,
I think we don't have the problem of infrastructure as far as school is concerned in Cameroon. And you know, that is why you see the sector is even liberalized. he was talking about private school. You cannot differentiate. I think government is giving subvention to all those private schools. Even if today they can be, you can say you want to try to make the difference between government schools and a private school. All those schools falls under the Cameroon system of education.
Are you aware that the government of Cameroon was supposed to provide schools for all Cameroonians, that the private sector, we can, in different countries, you can survive without private education?
I think it is even an advantage for the government to give the opportunity and the possibility to individuals to promote the system of education in Cameroon. It is not a disadvantage. And when we want to, we can even see in the development of infrastructure. Today, when we talk about water supply, you see Yaoundé is almost the
Pipes project.
The Pipes project
that I can say, yes, that I can say something has changed a little.
No,
because myself I've experienced the little change. I'm talking about water in Yaoundé. Yes. I'm not talking about water nationwide.
Yes, it's because of water in Yaoundé.
So yes, please, just a minute.
So I think yes, I think even in the when we talk about road infrastructure, you discover that Cameroon today is almost linked with all the other countries of CEMAC, and that's something that is good, that will boost even the economic of Cameroon, because our products can be transferred from one region to another, or from Cameroon to another
thank you. Thank you so much, John NIBA. I want us to look at some of those policies that we that you consider as inefficient.
Well, the policies you consider are inefficient. You don't judge a policy, you judge the results of the policy.
Of course.
If we go by it is true, it's good to want to be positive, but it is not a must to be positive where things look negative.
Okay.
We don't come here we don't gain any salary painting the government black. We believe that you present the real image to the government for something to be done. When my other brother, they boast of the fact that private schools have come into play, and it's a good thing. Do you know how much a private school costs? Do you know that the government of Cameroon has abandoned the poor masses into the hands of private operators of schools without neither regulating the quality of teachers nor regulating the prices of school fees, and even other didactic materials that are illegally sold, and you know it and you praise it, and you have the CPDM. You better tell your president that those places are becoming business centers where they exploit poor parents, and that government should not abandon. You say they give subvention, I'm d'accord with you. Let me I will not call the name of a school, just look at the way those private schools are built and ask yourself whether that government subvention can build one room. How will government subvent private schools when government cannot build its own classrooms? Government cannot even employ its own teachers, and then they will go and give subvention to other things. I think those are funny policies. Government capitalizes on PTA, where they collect up to 45,000, 50,000 in big towns for PTA, and that is the government that gives subvention, while stealing again from the poor parents. You see, we think if the regime was listening to us without the hatred they have for people who speak the truth in this country, because when you see the way they deal with the likes of the Martinez Zogos, people who used to point where it pinches, instead of solving the situation, they silence the voice. If they stop silencing the voice, things will move in this country. I don't know whether even those in the CPDM don't go to the market, where a government has decided to tax everything. If you go to the market today, you see that soap, the price has gone up. Salt, the price has gone up. Rice, on which the poorest Cameroonians survive, the price have gone up. Even gari that we used to eat in those days, the price have gone up. Every little bit of things, the price has gone up. And when government stop taxing the multimedia guys, the big business people, and comes right down to extort the poor who do not even have, the government becomes a scammer. And that is where we are saying that it is of no use. Keep giving us taxes every day, increasing taxes of electricity, water, basic commodities, education every day. I think the government can generate taxes from the multimedia people who have the cash, from investors who are coming in to invest, and allow the poor masses, the mother who is selling potatoes here at the market, she should not
be taxed.
Okay. Elliot, unemployment is still a very big problem, like one who works maybe with the youths, because I believe that is what you do, trying as much as possible to create employment for the youths. How do you detect maybe these youths, and concretely, what do you do to be able to contribute at your own level in solving that problem of high rate of unemployment?
Thank you so much for this amazing question. Before I dive into the question, I sincerely want to point a picture which is really, not very pleasant in the eyes of Cameroonians.
Okay.
If you happen to go through the Obilibiamasi Road,
yeah.
I don't know what was done there, because I've never seen a situation whereby we bring vehicles
okay.
to come and pour red ground on tar.
Okay.
It's a horrible situation. I can imagine how the people living around there feel. Sincerely, it's really.
Are you saying that it was better in the previous state than it is?
No, I sincerely want to say that the previous state was much more better than what we have now, because the dust that they inhale and all whatnot takes them constantly to the hospital.
Okay.
Sincerely. And I also want to add to the fact that coming to unemployment in Cameroon, we have had one of the greatest mass of youths migrate out of Cameroon today. They are not migrating because Cameroon is having better opportunities, and then maybe they
don't want to pick them.
They don't want to dive into it. It's because we're in a state where we can no longer have jobs, acquire jobs in Cameroon. And so for example, I see the government trying to regulate the number of youths moving into Canada,
teachers and
into
nurses.
Canada.
Yeah.
You see, and in fact, a lot of the mass youths
and nurses
getting out of Cameroon. It's sincerely, it's a proof to them that the Cameroonian youths are not fine. The Cameroonian youths are not okay.
Okay.
Now I'm going to come. I'll dive into your question. Peace Foundation for Development and Employment Services has been doing quite a lot at our own level, working hand in gloves with the government, I must say so, to see what we can do, because sincerely we can't do this on our own. We must have to work with the government to see that we can be able to help our brothers and sisters that are coming up there. We start by orientating them, because the first thing we saw is that in order to have an excellent Cameroonian who has a positive mind, in order to be able to be autonomous financially, we have to start from the mind. The state of the Cameroonian youths, the mindset they have today, if we don't start working on it, then we are going to have the worst Cameroonians tomorrow.
Okay.
So,
is it the educational system or the mindset? Because the mindset is brought about by the education we receive.
We are trying to work at the mindset, looking at both dimensions. Because if we work on their mindset per their state, they'll be able to manage the educational system in which they find themselves.
Okay.
Yes. So if we orientate them better, they would know that this classical system in which they are in, they must go for other opportunities, entrepreneurial opportunities that can help them match the certificate that they have, which most likely sometimes does not help them when they are done from school. So Peace Foundation we have been able to, gather a lot of youth passing through chiefs, because we actually go to quarters. In Yaoundé, for example, we visited Carrefour Banan, the Akongui quarter after Carrefour Banan at Simbok, where we were able to bring the population together, and the chief of that quarter was able to bring onto us some of the youths that were able to bring into the system, where we started inculcating this IT system, which is really, I want to say it's more spoken than done. In Cameroon. It's more spoken than done. So we have been able to train a couple of youths in the IT system, in entrepreneurship, such that they can be able to start up schemes and duly register it. Those schemes and get themselves started from there.
All right, I'll be coming back to you, Josh. I know the aim of every opposition in Cameroon is to take power. But before you take power, you must show some proof of seriousness in nation building. Would you say the opposition is playing its role to see that the socio-economic situation of Cameroon, which is bad today, changes?
Well, I like that question. It boils down to our manifesto come 2025.
Okay.
You know, possible solutions to our nation's problem, first, is a change of regime. It's a change of regime. They have been there for more than 4 decades. No change.
Is it the fact that they have been there for long?
Because they have been there for quite a long time. Now look at the level of Yaoundé. There is no road infrastructure. We should not come here and lie to people that there is road. There's no road in Yaoundé, and this is the capital city of the nation. There is no pipe-borne water. The affordability and accessibility and the quality of drinkable water in Cameroon is questionable. You can't drink water from the tap here in Yaoundé, the capital city. Yet we have a government in place. To take taxi from one quarter to another, dust will finish you inside that taxi. You will be dirty as if you are going to your farm. Every year we sign budget, where has the budget been going to? That in the capital city, I don't want to go far. The capital city will lack road. If we don't have road in the capital city, then what about the rural areas? Let us talk about the educational sector. I heard my panelist here said, one of the panelists here said that we have good educational infrastructures in Cameroon. I want to take you to north, extreme north. 6 months ago, we've witnessed a situation where a touch school collapsed on pupils.
Okay.
Some went to the hospital. Some lost their lives in the process. Here we talk of good infrastructure when it comes to educational system in Cameroon. Let us talk about health-wise in Cameroon. We don't have good hospitals in Cameroon. Let me give proof to you why we don't have good hospitals.
Okay.
We don't have good hospitals because majority of our ministers seek health solutions out of the country. Even the Minister of Health seek health solutions out of the country. It means he himself, he is doubting, he knows that no, we don't have health facilities in Cameroon. That's why when you see us of the Popular Action Party, we talk of federalism. We talk of federalism because the only way we can harness and manage well our resources. That is the only way we can avoid corruption and embezzlement, when each region will be capable of managing their resources correctly, where governors will be voted into office, not appointed.
Okay.
Where some senators will not be appointed by the government, but all the senators will be voted into office.
All right.
That is why us of the Popular Action Party and the coalition that we formed, that consisted of more than 23 political parties, it is to create that awareness that we are there for a common interest, the interest of the masses, to satisfy the aspiration of the masses. How can we do that? Through federation, through political change, through a change in regime. That is why we call on Cameroonians who still think that there is an individual who can manipulate and keep on fooling the masses all the time, that 2025 is the time to vote and defend your vote. When you vote, stay on your polling station and wait till they count the vote.
Okay,
we have all the tallies.
Okay, we are not yet there. We shall have all the times for campaign. Just to indicate that your party has already endorsed a presidential candidate. Am I right?
Yes, Barrister Keremuna.
Okay, Barrister Keremuna. Okay, Godfred, he was talking about some policies that are not working. Let us look at some of these policies. What will you say? Will you say the government policies are productive enough to take us maybe to change the current economic phase we are having now?
I think maybe you want to come back to the different sectors when we talk about educational sector. So I will be just brief.
Okay.
We have 10 regions with 10 renowned universities.
Okay.
At first, we had, when they are talking about health, I was even happy to hear them saying there are some nurses and teachers who are going out of Cameroon. Where are they trained?
They are not sent by the state. They are running.
Please, Mr. Neba.
Listen to me.
Please, Mr. Neba. Please, Mr. Neba. After him, I will give you the mic.
Yes. So we have 10 renowned universities, and we at first when we talk about medical that's peace, where they train doctors. We knew usually only about Yaoundé, but today almost in all the 10 regions we have where we train medical doctors, personnel. And as I earlier said, now when they are talking about route infrastructure, I want to remind you people that this year, this 2024, that is getting to the end, Cameroon have been able to tar 397 kilometers of the route.
Okay.
Yes, 300 and now when you look at this route infrastructure, you discover that it is a policy to make those who are in the interior country to be able to bring their products in towns
to the urban cities,
to be sold. So when they talk about taxes, I want to tell you people, Cameroonians are not even paying taxes. Because when they talk about decentralization and local development,
when you say Cameroonians are not paying taxes,
no,
somebody listening to you,
let me tell you. Please, when they talk about taxes at the local level, we have on Cameroonians. We have four types of taxes. We have taxes on habitation. And this one is the taxes are going on immobilier. That's those who are proprietors of land and all the rest. Yeah. Tax on professionalism, those who are doing some activities and they're supposed to chip in something for the community to develop. We have taxes on in the normal developed country. Yeah. This debt that we throw everywhere when we see Exécutive, there is a budget for that. Okay. And I think any Cameroonian has to contribute. I think somebody said, when you always blame the state, what have you done you yourself to the state? Okay. And that's another way for a Cameroonian to contribute, to chip in something to see the development of the country. Because when today they are complaining about government schools, who are the government? We are the government. We are those to contribute and see how those infrastructure
the problem is that some complain that after chipping in the small something that you are talking about, they don't see maybe the results of what the small thing is doing in their respective.
When we are talking about 397 kilometers of route that will start in Cameroon this 2024, I think this money was not coming out of an individual's pocket. This money is those contributions. And we have to know that sometimes when we even want to tackle on the state that this one is not doing, we know that Cameroon today is almost surrounded with a lot of insecurity. And there are some sectors that are not even functioning, but civil servants who are there are supposed to be paid. We don't even want to talk about natural catastrophic because sometimes suddenly we are faced in some type of catastrophic that we have to manage some type of money that was not previewed in the budget.
Thank you.
Please. I'm afraid of what the CPDM is talking about.
Just a minute, please.
Yes, just a minute.
Just a minute.
You know, when we talk of that, I like when Mr. Full talk of insecurity plaguing the nation. That is why it has hampered the government budget to do certain things for the masses.
Of course.
Now, who is there to ensure security, peace and security in this country is the government. So you are indirectly telling us that the government have failed in that domain. When you talk of managing natural disaster and man-made disaster, that is also hampered the nation and causing it, making it difficult.
Are you saying
for the government